Hey, Thomas Tapp here, and today we have an awesome tutorial for you. Me and Jonathan are back in California, and he's actually on camera right now. But this one's been requested a ton, especially by Sections Echo. I know you've been wanting this one for a while, and that is the wall 360 or the wall spin. And I'm going to be demonstrating today on a tree. Normally you want to start off with a nice grippy wall, but we're going to get this started. I'm going to show you the technique, I'm going to show you gradual progression steps, and then, good exercise to develop the core and the strength for this move. Now, the wall 360 is just an awesome looking flip. What's cool about the wall 360 too is it's a flip that is simple to learn, and it looks like a crazy flip. I know when I first saw this, I didn't even know you could do this flip. I thought it was impossible. But after seeing it in videos and then actually learning it on my own, I learned it outside just on a wall. It's actually a pretty simple flip to learn. It's just getting over the fear and knowing the proper technique. All right, let's break down the technique. First, you want to find an area that you can do this move safely. So you want to find a nice grippy wall. Before you go and try it, make sure that your hands have a decent grip. You're not going to slip off really easily. Then you want to have an area that you're landing that is soft, like grass or mulch or something like that. This is not really that good of an area. There's a bunch of roots. But I'm going to do it anyway because I know where I'm landing and stuff, but I wouldn't recommend doing this when you're first trying it. So find the good grippy wall, find a good soft area, and then you're ready to start the technique. So the first step of the technique we're going to talk about is the run up. We're going to run up in a 45-degree angle. This is going to allow us to rotate a lot easier and go into the wall pretty easily. If we go straight on, it can be done, but it makes it more difficult and a little awkward for the rotation to really generate that spin. With the angle here, we can go ahead and have an easier time rotating around. But if we go more at an angle, if we're like pretty much straight on here, this is going to cause us to possibly slip because we won't be able to get that friction or that grip as easily as we will with the 45-degree angle. So find that 45-degree angle to run. We're going to run at about 50% speed, and then the second step is the takeoff. What we're going to do is we're going to make sure to punch with both feet. We punch with both feet for this because since we're doing a 360 spin and generating a lot with the hips and we're close to this wall, if we do the stride, it's going to make it harder for us to actually rotate around without flipping the wall. So it's a lot easier if we punch with both feet and have it nice and tight so we have a lot of control here. Alright, I want to add a quick side note to this step because I was editing just now and I realized that I use the split leg takeoff at times for my wall spin or my wall 360. But just know that when you're starting off as a beginner, it's going to be a lot easier to use the punch takeoff instead of the split leg. But if you find that the punch is just not that comfortable for you, try a slight split leg. It might actually be easier for you because what I found is I actually use the split leg takeoff a lot when I do my wall 360s. So I just wanted to add that side note in here, and then we'll continue on with the tutorial. The third step is the hand placement. Now this is the most important part with the move. If we do this wrong, this is where we end up slipping off, smashing our face, or we don't rotate around, or we get too low on it. That's a very common problem. So with the hand placement, we want the top hand facing the direction that we're going to be spinning. So for me, I spin towards my left shoulder, my top hand and my right hand, the fingers are going to be facing away from me in this angle here. The bottom hand is going to be fingers facing down. This is going to be the pivot arm. Now, the way we place our hands, a lot of people when they first try to do this is they are a little scared or they're afraid to go for the move and they don't want to get too much height, so they place their hands too low at first. This is going to make it impossible for us to get the height to actually rotate around. This is also going to make it very difficult just to perform the move. We want the hands to be higher up. So the top hand is going to be basically in line with your chin here. The bottom hand is going to be in line with your waist. So you're going to always keep this position here. Top hand in line with the chin, bottom hand in line with the waist. If you always keep this, you're going to have the right amount of height to perform this move. So no matter how high you jump, the hands stay the same. So if I run and jump here, the hands stay there. If I run and go here, the hands stay in that same spot. That way you know you have the perfect amount of height to rotate the hips around the arms. So when we jump into the wall, we're going to use the top hand to help rotate us around, but bottom hand is going to be our pivot arm. It's going to stay on for pretty much the whole entire time we perform this move. And one important thing I want to mention is the amount of pressure you put into the wall. This is what's really going to help us keep that friction, because you know, one of the biggest fears is jumping into the wall and slipping off. And a lot of times this happens because we don't put enough pressure into the wall. This is what allows us to get that friction and to really keep us against the wall as we rotate. So make sure to put weight and pressure into the wall so we can stay on it. All right, then we move on to step 4. We have the hand placement right. Now we actually perform the move. This is when we initiate the rotation. So what we're gonna do is when we jump into the wall, place the hands here, we're gonna rotate our hips around this bottom arm here in a nice tight circle. We don't wanna go too wide here, or we're not gonna be able to rotate quick enough. We wanna keep it nice and tight around this lower arm. And what we're also going to do is when we jump into it, we're going to tuck the knees up into our chest to allow us to tuck and spin nice and fast. Now as we tuck our knees during this move, we're going to look over our shoulder to help rotate around and help our center rotate around this bottom arm. So for me, it feels like I jump up, punch into the wall, and as I'm punching up, I snap into that turn. It's like this motion here. So a lot of core is being used, also initiating the look over and the knee tuck. So it really gets that spin going. So after we complete the rotation, then we move on to step number 5, and that's the landing. We want to make sure to land on the balls of our feet. We've talked about this many times before. And we want to land and absorb nice and controlled. Now there's 2 landing styles that I've seen. You can land sideways, like you've done a side flip, or you can land with the hips facing the direction you just came from. Now, this is caused by turning of the shoulders and turning of the hips. If we want to land facing the direction we turned, and this is common for when we're first doing it, this is just a natural thing our body does, we're going to rotate the shoulders and keep them turning. So how we do that, I'll show you slow-mo real quick. Pretty much just keep that shoulder turning. The second one is we have to keep our body sideways the entire time. It's a little trickier, but it can look nicer if you want to have, you know, good little looking wall 360. All right, so that's the technique. Just a quick overview and key tips to remember. Run at the wall at a 45-degree angle, punch with both feet, place those hands in a good position. Bottom hand's gonna be on the waist, top hand's gonna be chin level or head level. We're gonna initiate that turn by tucking our legs into our chest and looking over that shoulder. We're gonna push with that top hand, rotate around this bottom hand, make sure the hips go in a nice tight circle around, and then we're gonna come out and land in a good landing position on the balls of the feet, and then we got the move down. All right, we filmed the technique, now we're moving on to the gradual progression steps. And in my opinion, this is the best way to actually get this move down, because we can safely and gradually learn this move, because otherwise it's extremely scary just to jump and go for the move, just knowing the technique. So the first thing you want to do is learn your palm spin. If you haven't learned your palm spin, click on this link over here, check that out. We made a palm spin tutorial, I think a few years ago. It's really good. So once you learn your palm spin, because the palm spin is almost exactly like the wall 360. It's like the exact form and technique, except instead of going into a vertical wall, you're going and performing the move on a horizontal plane, like this table. So I'll show you real quick what that looks like. Exactly the same, except different planes you're dealing with. Okay, so what we're going to do is after we learn our palm spin, we're going to gradually increase the height with our hips to mimic like we would on a vertical wall. So I'll show you real quick. First, you know, you do your palm spin, and we're going to angle our hips slightly up. Then once that gets comfortable, we're going to angle it more and more. So we're pretty much going basically straight up. Once you have that, then you can either transition straight to a vertical wall if it feels really comfortable, or we can move to a slanted wall. And then you want to find an area that you can gradually increase that slant. Now for me, what I used back in the day was I actually used the side of a car. Now, I wouldn't really recommend that if unless you have a buddy's car, you have an old clunker like me and Jonathan had, you can use that. It actually works really good. You have a door handle that you can kind of use as your guide. But another good thing to use is just a gym. There's cheese mats you can use, you can fold them up, and you can add gradual slants to improve and gradually get this move down. Then another thing you can find is slanted hills. These are all over the place if you live in a hilly area. I know I've found slanted hills for a lot of different progressions. This one in particular, the Wall 360, is a great one to use. Then also slanted trees. There's slanted trees usually in parks or different things, and you can find different slants to work with. Then as you get comfortable with the slants, then we're going to move on to the vertical wall, and then you have your Wall 360. Alright, so we've done some gradual progression steps. Now I'm going to leave you with some key exercises to really help develop the strength and the coordination for this move. So the first one is we just want to work on getting that jump into the wall, filling that friction out, work on that hand placement. So what we're going to do is I'm going to call these wall taps. Punch, tap the wall, bring it back. So you get a nice feel for it. It's going to help you get used to setting up for the move. Then the second exercise we're going to work on is cartwheels. It's going to help us get used to flipping sideways and also build up the core strength on each side. So one direction, and back the other one. So work on your cartwheels. Then we're going to go to the wall and really work on just that rotation with the core and the arms here. And these are just a little exercise we actually use to help with our palm spin, but we're going to use it to help with our wall spin as well. One hand's going to go on the wall, the other hand's going to go on the ground. We're going to swing our hips through the opening and back. Then we're going to swing back in that direction. Back and forth. So that way we get used to rotating around with the hips around this bottom arm, and then also develop the core and the legs tucked in. And the fourth exercise is jumping knee tucks. This is going to help with our jump and then also snapping the knees up into our chest for the good tuck that we want with the Wall 360. So you're going to go down in jumping position, jump up, tuck the knees up, and land. And land. We're going to do those. So those are 4 great exercises to help develop the physical abilities and coordination for this move. Alright, so that wraps up the Wall 360 or the wall spin tutorial. Make sure to practice those physical drills that I gave you. Also work those gradual progression steps. Also want to give a shout out to Sections Echo for requesting this tutorial. Make sure to subscribe to our channel for more videos and more tutorials. Also, you can click the link in the description for a free 5-day parkour course. Make sure to click the link in the description to check that out. As always, train safe. I'll see you in the next video.
Knock my lights out before I could even strike. Forced to sacrifice my dreams, bitch please. Never quit things that fit so perfectly in your jeans. Like perfect jeans, stop busting seams. Don't listen to what people think you should be. This is not for the ones getting by. This is for the people struggling.